Okay, audio's working as well. Yeah, let's get started. So the idea here is that you get to see everything that is involved with coring. So the blank on the lathe now is one, and I have another one more or less ready. Neither of these blanks is all that large, but still worthwhile to core them. And instead of filling the floor with shavings, I can save some wood and create two bowls. Hey Hans, good evening. You get to see my one-way tool in action tonight. How about that? So what I did on this one is the outside is already completely finished. I have a foot for my big jaws, because that's what I will use to hold it while coring. Uh, Afterwards, I have to make the foot a little smaller because it's actually too large for the size of the bowl. It has to be about 1/3, and this bowl is only, let me measure it. This one is only 24 centimeters. So that means the foot is about 8, and it is now well over 10 to fit my strongholds. So first thing I'm going to do is put that on. Hi Chris. I said I was going to show the entire process. This also means flattening the top of the bowl, because if you want to use the cutter on it for coring, it has to be a really flat surface. Otherwise, you'll have big problems starting the cut. The cutter will bounce all over the place, and that's not an ideal situation. So I will round out, flatten the first bit of the piece where I plan to put the cutter on later, and the rest I can preserve the height. What I like, I will also make a recess in there, because I think it's a good idea that you are able to hold the piece which is cored out directly in a chuck. So I will simply make a small recess for my SE3. Third gear, that's a bit slow for this. I think I'll switch to 4 for now. That will give me a bit more speed. And then I'll probably do both blanks. This is the other one, by the way. It's a little smaller, but also a little higher. I should be able to get a nice piece out of that as well. Actually, for coring, you should have bigger balls, but well, we'll see how it goes. Oh, Paul, Clint, the whole bunch is there. Welcome, guys. No, I'm not there yet. This is so that I do not cut myself on the edge of this piece. I think that's good enough. Actually, the tool rest is a little high, but it's fine for what I have in mind. Okay, the fat line is lower than the rest, just a bit. This is actually completely unimportant. The only thing I need to have from this is a good fit. And let's not make it too small. I did that the other day. It's a waste of time. But this one's fine. Okay. So now I have a nice smooth rim. And I have a recess to hold the cutout piece. Ah, Artfox. Okay. So because it's a bit of a time-consuming job to set up the coring, I want to prepare both blanks before I do that. This is number 2. Same thing there. And you can see I made that recess pretty pretty much the same size. That's the advantage you have when you use a template. Oh, this one's really off. That feels like a continuous cut, but just barely. Okay. How much height do I have here? No, not enough. Going to do a recess in this one as well. Okay. It's actually something that I haven't seen anybody else do, but I think that if you make a recess in the top of the blank before you core it, then it's much easier to put it back on the lathe when you want to turn it. So apparently the idea is that you can simply put it between centers or whatever. But with a recess like this, you can simply chuck it pretty much the way it was. And I have thus far pretty good experiences with that. Just a slightly dovetailed recess, because that's what the chuck wants. Doesn't have to be pretty. I mean, you also have the screw holes around it here, but as long as it fits, which it does, it's fine. Let me see. Ah, hard fox. Graham. Let me briefly scroll up. Up, Paul, yes. Graham Hain. Hi, Graham. Okay, so this is it. This blank is prepared now. I mean, it doesn't have to be all that pretty, but it's I have a flat top, so I'm ready to set up the coring rig. First thing, I put the lathe gears back down to first gear, which means I have very slow speed, maximum 380 RPM, but I have maximum torque. That snaps on nicely. Tighten that. Okay. Now my coring rig is hidden behind the camera, but I will unscrew it and bring it into view. So on both these blanks, because they are pretty small actually, I will only be able to use the smallest knife I have, which is 4.5 inches, I believe. So that would give you a bowl of 9 maximum. But considering that, whoop, this is the wrong way around. This should be better. So this is the base plate. You have to buy that part separately, and it is matched to the lathe you have, because which one you buy is determined by the width of the bedways, or the distance between them, because that's where it fits in. I'm not sure if you can. No, you cannot see that. So these are the bedways, obviously, and this base plate goes in between, and you can tighten it very nicely with that 3/4 inch wrench. And I always, when I'm not using the tool, I always have these bits of cloth in there, so that they do not fill up with chips. Okay, I'm putting the tailstock all the way back. Okay, and then we will do our measurements. So this bowl is 9 centimeters till the jaws. 9 centimeters or 9 millimeters. I want to retain a wall thickness of 15. The other day I did one and I went for 20, but 15 will also work. So 90 mil minus 15, that means 75. So the way I do the setup for this is pretty simple. I move the jig forward to the center position, and then I measure the distance, which is 160 at the moment. I'm measuring at both sides. That is the distance from the base plate to the uh, okay. This doesn't have to be all that accurate, but it helps if you have the same distance front and back. So I'm a little bit forward now. So let's measure it a bit more precisely. 158. 158. And we said we wanted the cut to bottom out at 75. So that means, since this side of the cutter is now even with the face of the work, I simply have to move the base plate 75 millimeters forward. So that means 158 minus 75, that's 82. Eighty-two. 82. Well, even at the maximum distance, that is a bit too much because the cutter is now at the end of the piece, so I won't be able to get that. I cannot move it further back, so I'll have to go backwards a bit, like so. I'm now at 100 millimeters, and this means that the the cutout that I have will be we were at 158, so now I'm at 100, so 58 millimeters minus the thickness of the cutter, which is almost 10 millimeters, something like 8 or thereabout, so it will be a pretty small blank, like 50 millimeters or thereabout. Okay. Yeah, it's flickering. That's the 50 hertz. I'm trying to adjust that. Yeah, it's better now, I think. Ah, Dave, I think this did it, right? I mean, my camera has this 50 hertz correction, but it doesn't always work as intended. So let me see, because there's one important piece that belongs to this setup. Okay. Can do it in different ways, but this rest here below is what supports the cutter, because the downward forces on it are immense as it cuts its way, as you can imagine. So let's see that everything's good and tight. Yeah, better, I know. Yeah. Okay, so now that you have a good view of it, I think I'm ready to start. So let's turn on the lathe and give it a go. I'm now at about slightly over 200, maybe 250 RPM, because you don't need high speed for this. Oops, that's always a risk. That is always a risk. Perhaps I didn't tighten it enough. Perhaps it's just not big enough. We'll see. Let's say I didn't tighten it enough. But since it's only 200 RPM, there's not much of a problem there. I have to remember myself that I put light pressure. Okay, as you saw, it already caught a bit, and that's because the support was moving from underneath. So I'll move it in slightly, like so. You can see it can just move freely, but now the cutter will always be overhead. But you need to have a curve for that. And I really think that 2 horsepower is the minimum. So my lathe barely does it. Easy does it. I'm not pushing, I'm simply guiding the cutter in. Taking the shavings every now and then, taking the shavings out every now and then. Although at this point they are coming out by themselves quite nicely. Still, if you get deeper, it gets more of a problem. Okay, stop the lathe and move that support in a bit further. Those shavings are warm to the touch, by the way. So here's the bottom. Then I move the center. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm moving the center of the support directly underneath the cutter. Check that it can still move back and forth a little bit. And on we go. I'd say we are already halfway in. probably after this round I'll have to resharpen the cutter. Okay, that was quite a bit, so let's move the support in a bit further. Could very well be the last time. Ah, the wood. This is willow. And you're supposed to do this on green wood. This is actually wood which has been outdoors for well over a year in my burn/turn pile. So it's not really dry and it's not really green either. But I finally found the courage to clean up the pile, and then I stumbled over these logs, so I had to do something with them. You see, now that I'm getting deeper, I really have to take out the shavings more often. It's also because the cutter is losing sharpness. I can sense that, but I don't feel like sharpening it tonight because one of the issues I have with this tool is the sharpening of the cutters is really difficult. It's doable, but it takes so much time, and I don't have time. The cutter seems to be loading up with gong. I'm putting up a little more pressure now, maybe also turn this a little bit faster. Almost there now. That's better. Okay. Let's move in that support once again. Oh yeah, you can see that very well. Almost there now. So I don't think it, no, it's not going to come loose by itself, but the support is now really close to the face of the work, so that means cannot be far. And also the handle on the cutter is almost at 90 degrees. So that's how you can see that you are getting close. And there it is. See, that's one done. This is really going to be a tiny bowl, but recently I found great joy in making those, so very nice. And this one will need a bit more hollowing, quite a bit more actually, because it's actually too small to do this efficiently. If I had a bit more width, then I would have been able to set the cutter wider. I would also have gone deeper. Now I think I need to hollow another, well, 2-3 centimeters. But still, it's perhaps equally fast as turning. Only you have less shavings. Okay, let me tighten this one properly the first time around. And then I will take another look at who's in the chat. Something like that. Ah, Steve. Okay, get ready for the next one. This one is a bit wider, but it's also shallower, so I probably won't be able to go much deeper. I have only 70 mil on the bowl back to the base. So that means if I keep a thickness of 10, then I can go in 60 from here. I'm at 14. So that means I'm again at 8. Yeah. Let's see if that works better. Since this bowl is a little wider, I have 24 centimeters, almost 10 inches that is. So here I'm able to leave more thickness here in the wall. But since the bowl is less deep, I will not be able to cut out much more than on the previous one. I think, well, we'll measure it afterwards. I think the blank will be pretty much the same size as this one. Okay, so this was somewhat green. So I'm indeed able to tighten it a little bit again. Okay. All right. There we go. So what you get with this is perfectly circular blanks. So if you're more into turning elliptical or whatever, what have you, type of shapes on your bowls, then you have a lot of additional turning to do. Move that in a little bit further. I'm positioning the support such that the bottom of the cutter slides over it all the way. That's how you get maximum support, and believe me, that's necessary. I also think that's how the manufacturer recommends it. It's not what I have seen everybody do on YouTube, but you can see that this wood is not 100% dry because there's steam coming off. With the really green wood, it's even worse than this. Although this one appears to be wetter than the last one. And yes, if you push too hard, you can just as easily as that stall your lathe. It's not the motor stalling, but probably the belt which starts slipping. But this is really a heavy job for any lathe. So with a 1 horsepower motor, I would say don't even think about it. Maybe if you have a freshly sharpened cutter each time. Don't push too hard. Moving the support in another bit because every little bit helps. You shouldn't be in a rush when you do this. You can make two balls out of one blank, and that's the main thing. And still, I think this is faster than hollowing it out. Okay. Let's see the chat. Oh my God. So, for those of you who don't know, this is a Maxi 1 record power. And it has a 2 horsepower motor. And it's probably also the wood to a certain extent because these shavings are sticky. Not sure what that is. It's willow, as I said, so I don't think there's much resin in them. But, well, I don't know. I can't remember having ever having caught willow before. I've done a lot of turning with willow, mostly balls. And it looks like I have to turn 4 more now. The problem with these shavings is if you do not take them out frequently, then they will stay in the curve and clog up everything. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I'm pretty sure that after this one I'm in for another round of sharpening those cutters. That's not something I'm looking forward to. So let's see who's in the chat. Willow can be quite stringy, yeah, absolutely. That's it. Okay. The last bit, I suppose. What's that? It's a bit of moisture coming out of the wood. And like I say, those shavings, they are warm to the touch. Putting a little more pressure now. Since we are getting closer to the chuck jaw, so the forces on the hold are a bit less. And if those shavings stay there, then they will probably also get stuck in front of the cutter, and you're just pushing the shavings forward instead of cutting wood. Okay, let's move that support forward one last time. And let me have a brief look at the jet. Okay, last bit, I presume. Yeah. No, it's a big chunk. Almost there. Number two. Okay. And if you take a look at the two cutouts, and you can see they are, well, they're exactly the same size. Whoa. But since this ball was a bit shallower than the other one, I have a more even wall thickness here. But still quite a bit to take out. Which is what we will do next, of course. Oh, we're already 1 hour on the way. We get that rig out of the way. Putting the cloth back inside, like so, because if it gets dirty down there, what you will get is that the cutter starts riding on top of that, and you will lose center. Because at the bottom of these two tubes, let me put it like that, there's a sort of a set screw which enables you to set it exactly at center. You do that only once, and then it should be good. But if there gets if ships get in there or shavings, then of course it will not be accurate anymore. Okay. I also have to switch to fourth gear. Like that. Okay. So now the outside is already finished on this one. So I only have to do the hollowing. And to do that, I will. It's fine. Like so. After that I will tilt the headstock. Give you guys a slightly better view. Okay. This should be sharp. Better. Okay. Sharpen the gouge first, which will not take long. Okay. Now let's see. Quite a difference, eh? Okay. Oops. Okay. I have just about 10 millimeters left in the bottom. So shouldn't take much more from there, but the walls, it's a different story. Probably better the other way around, but I couldn't help myself. Okay. Oh, that's a lot more like it. I have this dip in the middle that I need to work on. But other than that, the wall thickness is actually not so bad. Slightly above center so that I can hold it a little bit downwards. Let's see, this is my round nose scraper, also Robert Sorby. I have some homemade ones as well, but maybe I'll use those later. Okay. Hope you can see it all right like this. Mm, not too bad. Think you can just see that I'm putting a diamond hone to the scraper to put on the burr once again. After you have taken it to the grinder, you can do that a few times, and then it needs a grinding wheel again for touching up. Easy does it. think I'm going to leave it at that, gents. The camera doesn't pick up everything, but this is nice enough a surface to sand. Probably with, yeah, I think I'll start with 120. Have a crack here, which I didn't spot before. Have to fix that as well. But I think that's not something you all want to watch. I think this was it for this live, almost an hour and a half. So thank you all for watching, and see you at the next one. Yeah, there's a crack, yes.